Hello, and welcome to my review of The Letter, the horror visual novel game. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. I do have a full playthrough of the game. Well, quote unquote full. I did one route. I'll just dub it the Aiden route since I don't actually know what the routes are called. So this review is basically based on that. I don't know anything outside of the route. So yeah, I'm just judging it based on that. But no, I actually love it. I think it's a great game. I think it's only the second no, that's not true. Non-Japanese. I played like a Chinese visual novel once, but I thought it was excellent. Like I don't have the biggest repertoire of visual novels, but I'd probably put this at a solid fourth place behind, Higurashi Umineko and Fata Morgana, but those are like maybe insurmountable bars to climb. So yeah, I thought there's a lot of good aspects of the visual novel. And I'm definitely interested in doing another route. Just like Aiden, what was your route for people who haven't watched it? Ashton and Isabella got together. Luke and Hannah had their children and are living happily. Basically, everyone's kind of happy. I mean, Rebecca's is kind of stuffed since she's the loser of the love triangle, but that's just the fate of the person who loses the love triangle, right? But yeah, I basically just wanted everyone to live. But I know, like, for the true ending, you need people to die and stuff, so that's why I just dubbed this the Aiden route, because it's both satisfying and not satisfying. It's satisfying in the fact that everyone's pretty happy, and I'm really glad that we saved Luke's marriage, and at least shipped Ashton and Isabella. Even though I will say I liked Rebecca maybe a bit more than Isabella by the end of it, but like when I started, I was like definitely more of an Isabella person. But yeah, good stuff. A little unsatisfied since I don't know anything really about the ghost girl, but Takako, as her name might be. But yeah, save that for another route, maybe subscribe and experience the second route, but that's gonna be a while from now. I need to let it simmer before diving back into it for maximum hype. But yeah, let's talk about the aspects of the game. First off, you're like, Aiden, this isn't the OST. I do think the OST was decent, but I don't actually have access to the OST. It is pay dated and not really available on YouTube. There's a couple songs that I'll probably add to my OST mix, which can be found in the channel if you're interested in any of the songs you hear. So yeah, I just didn't do that because it's mainly pay dated, and it seems like a lot of the songs are lyrical songs, which, I don't really want to talk over the lyrics. But I thought they were pretty good. There's a couple bangers. I don't actually know the names of them. But the OST itself is pretty small, actually. I thought it was much larger, but from what I can tell, it's only like maybe under in the mid 10s, like 15 maybe max. Well, like I don't know, a lot of games I play usually go up to the upper 30s or something, which is fine, quality over quantity. But I'd give this like a mid out of 10 for the OST. Didn't love it. I loved like one song. But yeah, decent. I think the writing is actually pretty interesting too, because I believe this is not translated at all. This is like completely in English, right? I know it's a Filipino company, but I think it was written in English, and it feels really different from a Japanese visual novel. It feels more like an actual novel. Like they get pretty cute with the writing. There's definitely points in the playthrough I'm like, oh, that's cute. And it took me a while to realize, like, yeah, this feels way more, I guess, I don't want to say standard, because that's not like what I mean, but it feels a lot more like a novel than a visual novel. Maybe it's also because of the translation thing, because you can't really there's good translations for other languages, but it doesn't like come across as naturally as if you're just the native speaker. So this was pretty interesting. I mean, like, I've read Doki Doki, which again also is English only, but I think they actually try to mimic the style of Japanese writing. Well, this one just felt like they just put a novel into it. So I was actually, I like it. I like it. That being said, there were a couple sentences which did not make sense grammar wise, which you gotta fault them for a little, because like for normally for visual novels I'm like, oh well, it's translated, right? Sometimes that just happens, but if it's actually like written natively in English, then you gotta knock off it a little bit. And you know, there's also some recorded voice lines, but I'm not a stickler for that, you know. I'm not a hardcore detailist, you know. It happens, but yeah, just worth mentioning, I guess. Art wise, I really enjoyed it. I'm not used to such an animated visual novel. A lot of moving parts. I was definitely a fan of the CGs, which were like almost all animated, and the portraits, you know, in the bottom left where the text is. I think the sprites, you know, they're definitely a more distinct style, a more 3D style, which isn't exactly my favorites. But I thought it was like, I'm not a 3D hater. I know people like hate anything 3D animation, but I actually don't mind it. But I think the portraits and the CGs looked probably my favorite pieces of art. But yeah, the animation, dude. Like I've only seen, like I guess that's just like a new tech, because the only time I've seen animation was also on Doki Doki, which is again not Japanese, but I liked it. I liked it. It's very cool, you know. I'm glad to see some evolution in the visual novel game genre. So that's cool. Art, writing. I guess like honestly the main. Oh, okay. Before we go into that, voice acting. It's good. I'll be honest. Like, since I've seen so much Japanese stuff, this is actually just weeb problems. But like in the past, I always like when I hear like English voice acted things, it just felt weird to me. I blame my dad for exposing me to freaking Asian stuff when I was a kid. And now I'm just like, everything like voice acting like very weird to me. But I'm starting to appreciate other voice acting, and I'm starting to pick up on how it sounds, like the art of it more and more. Especially with games like The Cat Lady and Downfall, where I'm like, oh my god, these voice actors are actually popping off. I think the letter did a very good job too. I think Luke was probably my favorite male voice actor in this. Female, you know, I might just have to give it to Hana. Hana's was pretty good. I think they all did a pretty good job. The only problem in voice acting in this game though was the children, dude. The children sounded so cursed. I mean, they just sounded like adults like pinching their nose. maybe I'm being too simplistic on that, too much shade, but the children did not sound as good to me. Like Luke child voice was kind of cursed. Kylie, oh man, don't even talk to me about Kylie, dude. Her sprite with the giant head, she looked almost alien to me. No, I'm dissing. I do like Kylie, but like, yeah, that's probably the weaker spot for the voice acting. But I think in general, I was very happy with the voice acting. Tone, I mean, I'm a big horror fan. I love horror. I thought this was probably the scariest visual novel. I actually do legit think this is scarier than Doki Doki. You know, I'm comparing it to Doki Doki because it's the only other English visual novel I've read, like English written based. But yeah, they have some good jump scares. You know, I would refer to my first highlight video. There's a couple of nice jumps in there. I think they really mastered, like, they have the style of jump scare that they sometimes do. And it's like, it doesn't sound like it should work, but it really did work on me, in my opinion. It's like when, like, the character says, oh, and then it's like a second buffer, and then the jump scare happens, and then you're like, then that always like gets me. I don't know why. Like, I think it's because they show like, oh, something scary happens, and then there's like a second, and then you're like you tense up when they go, oh, and then like you wait and like, oh, nothing happens, then it pops out, and then I'm just like, oh my god. So I'm really impressed with the jump scares. You know, I'm not gonna say I don't get scared at jump scares, but I do. I have experienced a lot of horror, so I'll say it's probably harder for me to get scared, and I think they do a very good job with it. Ghost Lady, aka Tatako, which we called her like for 2 episodes at the end, and for like pretty much the whole playthrough, we just called her Scuffed Kayako. She's definitely very inspired by classical Japanese ghost girls. Specifically Kayako, because there was she did have the. Did she have the? I think she did. I mean, she looks like Kayako, kind of. But no, she was fairly scary. I do like that. It's probably one of my favorite monster genres, the Japanese ghost girls. I know it sounds weird, but that's basically what my fear was when I was a little kid. Just because my dad showed me Ju-on when I was like 8 years old, and that shit terrified me. So I do appreciate it. Sorry. YouTube videos in different volumes, man. I'm just trying to get a consistent jam. Yeah. So I thought in general the story was very strong. Most of it was strong, honestly. I think the best part of the letter though is the customization and just the flexibility that the player has, because you know, I did a route. It took me like, I have 43 episodes. I don't know how long that would translate. Maybe like in the 30s for hours. Maybe let's just say 35 hours. And I think I only got like maybe 50% of the game done, just because I know there's like bigger routes with like bigger endings. You know, I'm sure there's a route that covers like the ghost bat story and stuff, but even in the epilogue, I'm sure like stuff changes with that. I really love the meter, the love meter, trying to match them on certain people. You know, my mission was to get Hana and Luke up to 100 and Isabella and Ashton up to 100, and it's really fun. I'm again, since I don't know the full extent of the flexibility, I'm wondering like how flexible is the love meter? Like if I can actually get Rebecca and Ashton up to 100, would they actually ship? Because I mean, I definitely want to do that in the next playthrough. 100%. Get you know, save Rebecca. Isabella's gonna get kicked out of the triangle. To be fair, she didn't like Ashton as much in the beginning, I think. But yeah, I love that idea. It's super fun for me, especially someone who enjoys romance stuff. So I like that. I like there's just like, even in singular routes, I'm sure there's like so many choices that could that won't affect the whole route, but will just change like certain scenes. Like, I don't know, man. I've never played a game like obviously I've played visual novels with a lot of routes, right? But this one feels like there's certain routes that also turn into smaller routes. Like, I think that's like the real strong point, like how flexible, how much content you can do. I'm sure clearing like the game 100%, like sure you can do 100%, but I'm sure there's like when you get 100%, you can make different choices in like the same route. Well, maybe not. I'm sure there's actually a limit, but like, I feel like there's even more to explore, even if you get 100%, because you can like do different stuff in different routes that that you've seen the scene before, but you apply them in a different route and it might be different. I don't know. I'm confusing myself now, but yeah, I love that. I think this is like honestly like definitely worth its money. How much was this? This was like 15 bucks, 17. I think it was like 18 actually. Letter Steam. The letter US $20. So it's probably like actually like because I'm in Canadian. Oh wait, it says It's no, it's $21 Canadian. Okay, that's a little pricey, you know. For a visual novel, I'm sure I thought that when I bought it. Though I probably bought it on sale. The letter's coming to consoles. Hype, hype. That sounds sick. I'm glad they're expanding their business. I think it's definitely worth its money though. My general take on video game prices is if you can spend an hour $1, which is usually very hard. But I already overvalued it. Like I'm pretty sure I'd have like at least 30 hours, so that's already enough. Plus, there's more content to farm on it, aka it's a good deal. So yeah, it's basically a lot of positives, you know, some stuffed writing here and there, some stuffed images maybe. Maybe sometimes I had to like turn down the settings because I run a toaster, but that's my fault. But you like even if you're like, oh, the story was all right, which to me I enjoyed. Like it's basically just on you because you have all the power, man. The power, the most. Again, I think this is like the visual novel where you have the most control over the story that I've ever seen. So very very good job, Yang. What are they called? Yang, the sheep company. But yeah. Anyways, like I said in the beginning, I very much enjoyed this. I'd say it's probably my fourth favorite visual novel of all time, beating like what, Doki Doki Sano Yuta. Don't kill me, people. I know that's a cult classic, but it is what it is. Beating Fate, but Fate's easy to beat. Don't kill me. But no, yeah, great time, great game. I'm very glad I picked this up. Honestly, I'll be honest, this wasn't even my first choice. I was planning to play a different game, but then that game I was having troubles recording, so so then I decided, oh, I have this in my library, might as well play it. And I mean, let's just say I'd be very surprised if that other game would be even like, well, I won't say even close, but would be a better experience than this. But yeah, I think that's it for my review. This is just if you couldn't tell, there's no script to this. This is just on the cuffs, just me talking from the top of my head. So it's not very planned, the review. So if you have like any comments, or if you want me to talk about like a certain aspect of the game that I maybe didn't talk about, or just didn't talk enough about, feel free to leave a comment. I'm more than willing to answer and respond to any of your questions. And yeah, just thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Again, if you haven't seen the playthrough, it's all there on YouTube. It's a long one, but I think it is pretty entertaining. And you know, feel free, and if you are just here for the letter journey, feel free to check out the channel. We have horror games, we have visual novels, we have horror visual novels, like all this good stuff. But yeah, I think that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and maybe I'll see you next time. Peace.